Hello everyone, welcome back to the third session of Object Oriented ABAP refresher course. So friends, in our last session we talked about the classes, objects, and how do we define a class and what all the visibility sections are. And in order to proceed further, now it's time has come when I should tell you like how should we create an object, because when we talk about the visibility section, when we talk about the accessing the information, then we should know like only the objects while creating the objects only we can access the attributes or methods of a particular class. Okay, so in order to access the attributes or methods of a class, we need to create an object. Okay, so now first thing is, in order to understand, like there are first statement. Okay, when you talk about the first statement, data lr underscore ref underscore var type ref to class name. Okay, when this particular statement comes, okay, what system thinks is only this part will get generated. That means this is data lr underscore ref underscore var is nothing but a reference variable. During your college days you must have learned about the pointers, right? Pointers will not contain the actual value of an attribute. It does contain the address. It does contain the address of whatever. It may be class or any other thing as well. So in this particular case, in order to capture the reference of a particular class, we need to have one reference variable. Okay, so when we declare this particular statement, that means something like pointer will get generated. Then if we come to this particular statement which says create object of whatever reference variable we just declared, then that says okay, now this particular object, an object gets created, and this particular object points to this particular class. This particular object points to this particular class. In other words, now we can say this object is an instance of this particular class and not any other XYZ class. Okay, there could be so many classes, but in order to segregate, like this particular object is an instance of this particular class. So this is how we create an object. Okay, so as we know, inside the class we do have attributes, we do have methods. We do have attributes, we do have methods, right? So in order to access the attributes or method or methods of a class, we need to know we should have an object created for this particular class. There should be an object of this particular class in order to access the attribute or methods of this particular class. Okay, so then now comes to how we are going to access this particular thing. Once the object gets created, once the object gets created, then what needs to be done now? We can access now the either the attributes like lr underscore ref underscore var, and there is a arrow towards your right. Now it can access the attribute or it can access the methods of this particular class. Okay, so this is an important concept in order to understand the visibility of a particular visibility section in object oriented programming. Okay, now let's get into the, without wasting time, get into the BAP screen and see how this looks like. I think some connection issues there. Just a second. Okay, so now as we discussed already in this particular, what are the concepts we already know. Like there are three sections: one is the public section, one is the protected section, and another one is the private section. In case of public section, the attributes or methods of a class can be accessed within the class or outside the class. When I say within the class, that means methods of this particular class can access these attributes. When I say outside the class, that means outside the class means under the, in this report, right? In this is the report, this is outside the class. So inside the class means whatever is within the class and end class is within the class, and other than that is the outside the class. Okay, so now in order to if you are declaring something inside the public section, that means the attributes and methods can be accessed within the class or outside the class. When I say protected section, that means the attributes or methods can be accessed within the class or to the selected group of people, which we can call the subclasses. Okay, subclasses will come when we'll talk about the inheritance. So park this protected section for time being. Now when I say the private section, that means the attributes or methods of this particular section can only be accessed within the class. Within the class means only the methods of this particular class can access these attributes. Okay, so this is how the public, protected or private section works. So we already declared there is a definition part. We already know that there is a definition part, there is an implementation part. Inside the definition part, we have three sections. We have declared three attributes: one is public, one is protected, one is the private. Now let's see if I have done like the data declaration is done here, and then I created one object, and then what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to access the attributes whatever I declared above. Let's see if system would allow me or not. When I clicked on this syntax check, what does it say? Okay, so this is some different error. Let's correct this first. LCL is the class. Okay, now we'll do the syntax check. Okay, what it says, the first thing which system says is access to the protected attribute is not allowed, because we are now outside this program, outside the class. Outside the class, these protected attributes cannot be accessed. As I said, protected attributes can only be accessed within the class or to the subclasses, right? So let's comment it out, the protected section. Now let's see how. Now what it is saying is access to the private attribute is not allowed, because in this particular case, as I said, outside the class we cannot access the private attributes. So this is how outside this class, outside means which is outside the class and end class section. Okay, outside the class we cannot access the protected or private attributes. Only the public attributes can be accessed outside the class. Hope you understood this session. If you do have any queries, you can comment it out. Comment below the video link. I'll get back to you at the earliest. Hope you enjoyed this session. Thanks a lot.